2020 is finally over. Hey guys, welcome back to Adlib Talk, and today I'm going to be giving you my mandatory top 10 movies released in 2020. Before I start with the list, however, as always, please don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it, and please do consider subscribing. That is the main ways that you can basically help support my channel. Thank you so much again for watching, and let's get right into that list. Starting off at number 10, we have The Five Bloods. Powerful, yet slightly inconsistent, The Five Bloods still manages to make my top 10 list due mainly to magnificent performances by Chadwick Boseman and Delroy Lindo. Two very, very good performances. Spike Lee gives us a fresh and new view of the Vietnam War through the eyes of four black veterans who returned back to Vietnam for two main reasons. One, to find the remnants of Storm and Norman who had died there, and also to find a sort of treasure that they had buried there. This results in a relatively long and also sometimes confused, but ultimately extremely enjoyable experience that has some excellent cinematography, some very beautiful shots of Vietnam, and some very good social commentary. And it's an overall very enjoyable movie with some hitches here and there. Well worth your time. And at number 9, we have The Devil All the Time. In my opinion, one of the most underrated movies of the year, by myself included, if you check my review, in fact. The Devil All the Time makes number 9 due mainly to some pretty decent performances by Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård, and Robert Pattinson, for example, as well as some excellent cinematography where we get to see sort of areas of the USA which we usually don't see in mainstream movies. Yes, it is far too long and it is a little self-indulgent from the director, but overall we also have the plot being bogged down a little with too many characters. But guys, it's so good the way the writing sort of gets all these character stories weaved together in the end in such a satisfactory manner. And I think that alone makes it deserving of the top 10 list. But also it's the performances which are good, the music which is good, and the overall look and feel to the movie. Very high production values, which I really enjoyed about it. And at number 8, The Trial of the Chicago 7. What an amazing cast we have here. Aaron Sorkin successfully writes, and this time also directs, yet another courtroom drama. He tells the story of the famed Chicago 7, a group of anti-Vietnam War protesters who were accused of sort of inciting riots during the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Now, the ensemble cast is brilliant, and this movie was a true showcase for certain actors like Frank Langella, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Eddie Redmayne, who all give brilliant performances. And Aaron Sorkin really does get the best out of many of these different actors in this movie, and not just the three I mentioned, but especially those three. It was also very topical, due mainly to the time of release being very close to the upcoming US elections, and there were obviously some commentary about that. But it also provided audiences with a very nuanced take on sort of the different factions which one could find in the American left, which I also found very interesting. This was a very enjoyable movie, well shot, well written, very well written actually, very good performances, and one I recommend everyone to watch. Number 7, we have The Assistant. This was one of the most powerful movies of the year, in my opinion, and whilst not enjoyable like many of the other movies, is definitely one of those movies that left a mark on me, and one I will definitely not forget from this year. The Assistant shows us one day in the life of Jane, a junior assistant working in a film production company in New York, and as she goes throughout her normal routine day, we start to take note of sort of the stress she's going through, she's feeling, and due to two main reasons. Number one is the sort of amount of menial tasks she has to complete. She's so busy, but so busy doing really menial tasks. But secondly, especially due to the culture of sexual harassment that has sort of developed in the company she's working with. Julia Garner is brilliant, and I think she's definitely in contention for Best Actress with this performance. I'm sure she'll be nominated. I don't know if she'll win, however. The movie itself has to be praised for approaching such a sensitive topic in a very realistic manner. Nothing bombastic at all about this movie. This all feels real and grounded, and that makes it even more powerful. The claustrophobic film, the way it was filmed, is very claustrophobic and very effective. And it all has a certain dark tinge to it, which reflects the whole tone of the movie. Very topical, extremely powerful. The Assistant is definitely well deserving of a place on this list. At number 6, we have The Vast of Night. My personal surprise of the year. The Vast of Night was one of the most enjoyable movies I got to watch this year. I said it. I love sci-fi, and this movie is just my cup of tea. Set in the 1950s, Everett and Faye discover a strange signal which they start to suspect could be extraterrestrial, and this leads them on this fantastic journey as they try to discover what is this signal, contacted by different people who tell their own stories of such a signal. Andrew Patterson, he is brilliant. This is his first movie, his directorial debut, and he achieves miracles with a limited budget. Midway through the movie, there is this tracking shot that everyone's been talking about, which is absolutely fantastic. It's out of this world how he managed to achieve it. But it's not just fancy filmmaking here, however. That's important to note. There is excellent writing behind this movie, which is seen throughout the whole thing, with some audio-only scenes which were so effective in generating mystique and drama and sort of tension. Certain monologues by certain characters were very, very well written, and the whole thing just oozes sort of low budget, but it doesn't feel low budget. The production value here is actually very, very good, which was surprising. And when I found out how Andrew Patterson got the whole thing to work, I was even more astonished. So this movie is a very satisfying one to watch and very enjoyable, and I highly, highly recommend you go and watch The Vast of Night. At number 5, we have Tenet. What can I say? I'm a massive Christopher Nolan fan. It's a complex movie, verging on confusing and sometimes not even able to understand what's going on in the movie. It's self-indulgent at times, but it's also a beautiful piece of art. With some of the best movie moments I have seen this year. The camera work throughout the movie is incredible. Some very beautiful shots throughout the whole movie, both in the action sequences, which are great, but also in the more calmer moments, right? The action is filmed at breakneck speed, and the moments where we have the action sequences with time inversion, those moments are absolutely brilliant, and the things Christopher Nolan achieves in those scenes are things we have not seen before, as far as I know. I know this won't be a popular pick. I know many people hated this movie, or at least disliked it due to mainly the audio being unintelligible at times, especially when people are speaking and there's sort of this loud boom, boom, boom music going on in the background in the action. So yes, obviously there are some problems with the sound mixing, which I also experienced, right? I were times during the movie where I was just like, what the hell are these guys saying? But overall, the way Nolan manages to push the boundaries of film every time he releases a new piece of work is just incredible. And this is one of those movies that you're going to watch again and again and again and just find out something new, just like something like Inception or Interstellar, for example. So well worth the watch and well deserving, in my opinion, of its place on this list. At number 4, we have Bad Education, a movie I'm surprised I haven't seen that much in top 10 lists this year. being an educator, maybe that's why I managed to sort of empathize a bit more with the characters and sort of experience it and enjoy it more. But I found the movie's exploration into embezzlement at schools, at a particular school, obviously truly, truly fascinating. Hugh Jackman gives us a very powerful performance, and one worthy of at least a nomination for Best Performance, in my opinion, as do Alison Janney and Geraldine Viswanathan. I hope I did not mispronounce that name too horribly. Everything about this movie is quality. This writing, however, is truly brilliant. And I looked it up and I found out that Mike Makowski, who was the guy who wrote the screenplay for this movie, actually experienced these true events in person as he was a student at that school. And it shows right by his understanding of the location, of the setting, of the story, of the school itself, right? He understands sort of everything. And so there's this deep understanding of the whole situation, which can only come from someone experiencing it in real life. But also just the way he manages to build a tension and suspense throughout the whole movie is incredible. Very well written, very well acted, and an overall very good movie. Special mention also for the brilliant soundtrack. That soundtrack was so good. This is one comedic drama you cannot miss out on. At number 3, we have Mank, another sharply written drama with brilliant performances. Sign me up. Mank tells the story of Herman Mankiewicz as he writes Citizen Kane. However, Mank is more than just a biography of a screenplay writer. Through the eyes of that same titular protagonist, we get to see a very scathing look at 1930s Hollywood. And very, very, very well written, in my opinion. Technically, Mank is a masterpiece and can be considered as one of Fincher's finest, but maybe not his magnum opus, as it was described by certain people. The writing and dialogue is sublime. Absolutely sublime, especially for our protagonist, and it doesn't hurt that we get to see some very good performances by Gary Oldman, who gives a pretty okay performance, but especially by Amanda Seyfried, who gives a fantastic performance. Finally, I have to also mention the beautiful period authentic soundtrack that fits perfectly with the whole sort of feeling of the 1930s. This is a labor of love by a man who is at the top of his game. At number 2, we have Soul. I recently reviewed Soul. I hope you have seen it. If not, please go and check out my review for Soul at the end of this list. This is, in my opinion, one of the best Pixar movies I have recently seen and one of the best movies of the year. This is as perfect as it can get for animated movies. Although it's an audio-visual spectacle, Soul is more than that. It's more than just eye and ear candy. It's brave enough to ask very, very bold questions about life that make sort of this movie, Soul, one of Pixar's most sort of mature movies, especially considering the topics it deals with, topics like midlife crisis or mental health, for example. It would obviously be offensive to this movie if I didn't talk, however, about the audio and visual spectacle that it offers. The way the movie depicts autumnal New York is absolutely fantastic, and sort of the art style used to depict the afterlife is also brilliant, very creative, and different to what we're used to, which I really enjoyed. The great voice acting does not hurt, and both Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey lend their voices to the two main characters, and they sort of lend this movie a certain feel-good factor, which helps a lot, right? Very, very, very good voice acting. The sort of emotional moments in this movie are there. Some work better than others, but overall it's a very emotional movie which will leave you in tears, possibly. But it also has some very funny moments as well, to ensure that it sort of does not become too morbid of a Pixar movie. Soul is a definite must-watch and would have made my number 1 spot if I hadn't watched. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yes, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom makes my number one movie of 2020. Takes place in one afternoon during a recording session in the 1920s, set in Chicago, and focusing on a band who work for Ma Rainey, a legend in the blues scene, with writing and storytelling that is out of this world, truly out of this world, as well as two performances amongst the best I have ever seen. I really do feel like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is the best movie released in 2020. The late Chadwick Boseman gives us a powerful performance amongst the best I have seen, like I said, and showcases such a range of emotions. And what can I say about that climactic monologue about God? This is out of this world and truly fantastic work. Then we have obviously Viola Davis, who on the other hand gives us a very, very imposing performance as our titular character and showcases all her talent there as well. Although the main selling point of this movie are the two main performances, right? That is not to say this is an ugly movie to experience. The costumes, the makeup, the overall look of the set, they were all very, very good. And sort of the filmmaking behind it is also very good. But guys, I cannot emphasize enough how much I loved Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis's performances, and I would be shocked if they weren't nominated and weren't favorites for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actor in the upcoming Oscars. And that is why I think Ma Rainey's Black Bottom well deserves its spot at number one in my top 10 movies of 2020. And there we have it, guys. That's my top 10 list. Let me know in the comment section below what were your favorite movies of 2020. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next time right here on AdLib Talk.